today's show. I'm kind of excited. That's why I can't even talk because this is like long overdue with this woman of God. And I'm just excited that she accepted the invitation and she's on with us today. Okay. Do me a favor. Follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's all for you Talk TV with Dr. Lou. Also, you can follow me on my Instagram at dr._L Buckley to find out what I'm doing, when the next show is, and all that great stuff. Okay. And for more information or future events of what we're doing, go to www.LacretiaBuckley.co. Okay, www.LacretiaBuckley.co.com. All right, so hit the share button. Let people know that it's all for you. Talk TV is on live right now. Okay, and I'm excited because we are going to talk about something that is a hot topic and that is all over the place. And it's about marriage. It's about relationships. It's about couples. Okay, and I know that you guys have lots of questions and lots of things that you probably insight that you want to hear and stuff, because I have a treat for you on tonight. All right. I have the marriage counselors of marriage counselors with me. All right. I have the real deal. And I'm excited to have her with us. She is the CEO of Lips by Delpha and Delerice Couture. All right. And Couture Lips by Delpha and Delerice, and Lips by Delpha and Delerice. She is the founder of Proverbs 31 Wife Mentorship Program, which is internationally known around the world and is booming and is doing just great things, many testimonies, powerful, impact. It just, oh my gosh. Listen, if you're single, you need to hook up with her. All right. Because I guarantee you, when she's finished with you, you will be married to the right one. All right. She is Miss International World Florida 2015, Miss North Florida 2018. She's a wife, a new mom. She's so adorable. She's an intercessor, a model, guest appearance on the Steve Harvey Show. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce to you Miss Prophetess Delerice Clark-Tarani. All right, here we go. All right, thank you for being with us on today. I'm so excited. I couldn't even hardly talk. Oh my gosh.
I can hear you.
Oh, we don't have a hearing. Okay. Can you hear me now? Let's try it again. Can you hear me now?
No.
No? Can you check your mic? Check your mic. No. No hearing at all? Okay. Let me try again. All right. We're having some technical difficulties, so hang on, everybody.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I still can't hear you.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
I heard you when we first started, so I don't know what happened.
Can you go out and come back in?
Yeah, let me go out and come back in.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do this. She's going to be on. It's just been so crazy. I've been so excited. You know what I mean? Because this is a good topic, and this topic is going to be a little minute. So she'll be back with us in a few moments. We had some technical difficulties, but we're gonna get it together, okay? All right, how y'all doing tonight? Do me a favor, share this with your friends and family. Let them know it's all for you Talk TV with Dr. Lou is on. We have a treat on tonight. We're talking about, am I ready to be married? What will it take for me to be married? All right, so let's add her in. All right, Prophetess, are you there?
I am here.
All right, awesome. Okay, well, I gave you an introduction and I was babbling away. I just been so excited. So thank you so much for being on tonight. We have a lot to cover. So I'm just ready to jump right into it and all that great stuff. All right. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
About me. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much, Prophetess, for Apostle, for having me. It is truly an honor. I love everything that you do as it pertains to marriage, ministry, entrepreneurship. You are certainly doing your thing. So I am beyond honored to join you tonight as we discuss, am I ready for marriage? What I do. As most of you know, I am a prophetess, but I'm a life coach, and a registered marriage counselor by profession. So I'm not just in ministry, I'm actually doing this by profession for the last 12 years. I'm not as young as I look. Thank God black don't crack. But I've been doing marriage ministry for many, many years. For the last 2 years, I've launched a marriage preparation class, and it's called the Proverbs 31 Wife. And what I do in that class is I help women prepare themselves for marriage. And it's not just for single women, it's also for married women, as I get several married women that are interested in the course that actually sign up as well. And when I think about what I do, I would describe it as being a modern day Proverbs 31 wife. I'm very passionate about marriage. I'm very passionate about relationships, because so many times we see negative things in relationships in the media. We see negative about marriage. So I pride myself in being someone that is dedicated to helping people give birth to healthy marriages and also maintaining it along the way.
Amen. That was awesome. Okay. Everybody got an earful of what Coach D does. All right, great. Now tell me something. How do you balance being a new mom, wife, coach, and because we all wear many hats.
Yes.
Just as a woman in general. So how do you balance being wife, mom, business, coach, and the list goes on and on? The plumber, the lawyer, the doctor. How do you balance?
How I balance life, I would say that I'm already a very strategic person. I've always been that way. From I was a little girl, I would plan my whole week down to the wardrobe, and my mom thought it was OCD, but I would literally plan my whole week wardrobe. So carrying over into marriage and now becoming a new mom, I do believe in taking care of home first. So I cook every day. No matter how long my day is, no matter how many clients I have, I pride myself in taking care of my family and putting my family first. There's something that I say to my mentees all the time, and some people are offended when I say it, but I always tell people, Susie isn't going to beat me taking care of my family. What does that mean? It means that your spouse is around women all day, whether it's a man or a woman, they're around women all day. So we have to work extra hard sometimes to maintain what we already have. So how do I balance it? I maintain by making sure that I'm still taking care of my husband, making sure that when he comes home after a long day, I have dinner ready. How do I have dinner ready when I have all these people that I'm tending to on a day-to-day basis? Believe it or not, when my little girl goes to bed, when she takes her nap, at 12 noon, I make dinner then, so that when my husband comes home at 8 o'clock, dinner is prepared. How do I make time to become a mom? Mm-hmm. Now that I've become a mother, I don't work all night. I cut off at 9 o'clock. I don't care who it is. At 9 o'clock, you're not going to reach me. Whether it's text message, whether it is via social media, I shut down at 9 o'clock, and it is just about my little girl and my husband. I think that one thing that we do as leaders and in ministry is we burn ourselves out doing ministry, and we forget that our marriages, our families are our first ministry. So we don't have nothing left for home. We have nothing left for our children. So what I do, Friday night, I shut all the way down. Saturday and Sunday, I'm rebuilding. I'm refilling for the week ahead. But not only am I doing that, I'm making sure that I'm tucking baby girl in, kissing her. I'm having date night with hubby. These things are very important. It sounds cliche, but date nights are so important because it allows you to reconnect as a couple, because life can disconnect you, and not because you're having relationship issues, but work. Maybe you're having problems at work. You don't get along with your boss. You don't get along with those that you mentor or that you coaching. And now it's time to go to bed. We don't feel like being bothered. We roll over and we have nothing left for hubby. I always tell people, you better turn up at night, honey, for your husband. Why? Because you cannot be so fixated on giving everything to the world and family has nothing. So I plan strategically time for my family, time for work, time for being a mom. It sounds too much, but it really does work.
I believe you, because let me tell you what I had to do. Because business and ministry will take over.
Yes.
And I had to learn that. And I just got to a point to where I balanced with my business, because my business was like taking over everything. Now that was a great thing, but I noticed that my marriage and my children were going into neglect. They were. And I'm talking about, I mean, I would be working. I mean, I'm just, you know, and that's great and everything. And my husband was very happy about the success and stuff like that. But I knew he needed me as his wife.
Right.
So I got some grips on it. And you're right. It works when you balance it, and it works out to where it gels together. So I shut down at, I think, 7 o'clock. I shut everything.
Oh, you shut down really early.
Yeah. Yep. I cut it off. And, you know, we have cooked meals. Or if I don't, we're eating something.
Right.
You know, my daughter, I make sure I spend time with her. Now that I've gotten the show out the way, the show will be now recording on Tuesdays. I just wanted to get this. Yes, because weekends are usually ours.
Right. Makes sense.
So, you know, you have to do that, ladies and gentlemen. That's important to bring that balance. So thank you for giving us that pointer. And yes, it's important. All right, moving on. Y'all ready? Let's go. Okay. Question number 1, Coach D.
Yes.
How do you know if you have met the right one? Now, wait a minute. But first you get to talking, I want y'all to get pen and paper and be ready. Okay. And she might crunch on your toes, but that's okay. Right, but it's right. Okay. So
yes, I love that. I love to say it's tight but right, because it really is tight but right sometimes. And
yes,
one thing I can say as a person who has been in prior relationships before meeting my husband and failing miserably at relationships is knowing what you want and what you ask God for is important, is key as it pertains to knowing when you've met the one. And it may sound crazy, but I had made a list, and I'm not talking about a materialistic list, because when we hear the list, a lot of times right away our mind goes to, he has to have 6 figures, he must be 7 feet tall, he has to be packing. Listen, this is a relationship marriage talk show, so we're going to keep it real. We have these unrealistic things on our list, so we have a man on paper that isn't real.
That's so good.
One thing that I always say to women, ask God for what you need, for what you know will complement.
Wow.
Ask God for someone that will cover you. Ask God for someone that will not be jealous of your call, especially if you're in ministry, ladies. I made the mistake many years ago of connecting myself to someone who I thought I would marry that was jealous of my ministry purpose. Okay. And that ended really, 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 really horrific. Really horrific. Because when he should have been happy for me, he was mad when I was shining, or if someone would honor me, or if God would use me. God forbid the Lord use me. It was an argument later on. So how did I know my husband was my husband? Was the question, because I'm going to use myself. And I hope, ladies, you will apply it to your life. How I knew my husband was who God had created me for, who I belong to, who's ribbed. Excuse me, ladies, we know the scripture where they're ribbed, whose rib would fit, was because, for one, there were things that I asked God for on my list. Like, I wanted a man that could cover me. He didn't have to be a prophet. He didn't have to be a pastor. We get caught up in thinking people have to have titles to cover us. My husband is not a pastor, but you better believe he covers me. He's anointed to cover me. So I asked God for someone that could cover me, someone that was not intimidated by me, someone that would accept my prayer ministry, Many don't know, but some of you do know, I have a prayer ministry that I've had for 8 years now. I'll be celebrating 8 years of ministry this November. Thank you, Jesus. It was a journey. It is still a journey.
I remember.
And I said, God, this ex of mine fought me tooth and nail as it pertained to my ministry call, this call of intercession. I want my husband to love that about me. I want it to be something that he desires, that he needs. This is the key, ladies. Need. As it pertains to okay? Need. You can want something, but you don't need it. You have to be what they need, and they must be what you need. We're never going to be perfect, but together we're as perfect can be. And that may sound crazy, and you may be saying, well, nobody's perfect. Let me tell you something. With the right spouse, together you will create something perfect. You will create an empire. You will create a dynasty. And I remember when I met my husband, one of my main deal breakers was, again, I did not want someone that did not respect my prayer ministry. I was on a relationship panel. He was in the audience and he was watching me and I was watching him, and I said, no, ma'am, he looks good. Listen, green eyes, don't look over here because I don't want any problems. Listen, my ex didn't look like nothing, okay? And he did me wrong, cheated the whole time. So I said, no, ma'am, I don't want no good looking man. But my husband walked over and he said, I noticed that you said something on this panel that really grabbed my attention. He said, don't think that I'm crazy, but I always ask God for my wife to be an intercessor. Wow. Listen, it couldn't have been any plainer. A light bulb flash went off and God was like, that's him. When he said that, only me and God knew that I had put that on my list. And ladies, that's why I brought up the list. I brought up the list so that you could have an idea of what you want in a man, what you need. You gotta talk about it. I'm not talking about materialistic things, but needing a man that would understand my prayer ministry was very important to me. It was at the top of my list. I had an old list that had 1,000 things on it. My new list had 5 things on it. I said, God, I want a man that understands that my prayer ministry is important. Let him love it, God. Let him love that about me. I said, God, I want a provider. God, I want a man that is proud of me, never jealous of me. I said, God, I want a man that is comfortable in his own, one that can stand on the side of me and still be whoever he is and own that. The last thing I said, God, I want to be loved unconditional. Listen, we look at women that are beautiful and we think that they've always had love. I didn't always have love. I was the person giving the love. So wanting unconditional love was something that was very important for me. My husband had those 5 things, especially wanting a wife that was an intercessor. So ladies, if you're listening, he needs to have what you need. He needs to be who you need. You need to be able to look at a realistic list and say, God, only me and you know this. Another thing I would say to you also, ladies, if a relationship is more of a headache, if he's more of a headache than a helpmeet, he's not it. Same thing, fellas. If the woman is more of a headache than a helpmeet, she's not it. Those are things that you look at and you can see right away if somebody is for you or they're not for you. I'm not saying you're never going to go through things in your marriage or your relationships, but I'm saying at the end of the night when you lay down, if you always know you want to be married to them, even in the hard times, you always feel butterflies. Let me tell you something. I never thought I would have butterflies for any man. Every time I see my husband, I get those butterflies. His voice just does something to my spirit. And I used to laugh at women when they would talk about the butterfly experience. And I would say, child, she lying. That's not even real. Because I had never experienced that. So women would say, honey, I had butterflies. And I would cry laughing on the inside and say, somebody grab the mic. Homegirl is lying. Come out and tell the truth. There's no such thing as butterflies. The first time I heard my husband's voice, something pitter-pattered in my spirit. I was like, wait a minute, I'm becoming those women. But ladies, fellas too, because it's not just for the ladies, fellas too, when you have this feeling of not being without them. You can't be without this person. You can't picture your life without them. That's how you know it's real. When the ministry purpose just goes together, that's how you know it's real. And I'm not saying you're always going to do ministry together, but you and your husband, you and your wife should gel together. People should be able to look at you and see something. We laugh and people say all the time, you start looking like your spouse. But you really do. Something about you starts to resemble them.
Yeah.
You're starting to look like hubby. Okay. Now, I said, wait, why are they smiling alike? So ladies, fellas, those are ways that you know someone is for you.
Yes.
By completing each other, being what each other needs. My husband came into my life and he elevated me in ways that I needed to be elevated.
Girl, come on here.
And I'm not ashamed to say that. There were things that I needed shifting in, seasons that I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this season? And my husband came into my life and made those seasons shift into seasons of happiness. He made me shift into a better woman. I literally evolved. That's how you know when somebody's for you. When together, you're better. When together, people can see that you have changed for the better, not the worse, but for the better. I always tell people our spouses bring the best out of us. Even in down seasons, they still bring the best out of us, where we can look at a person and say, they may be having a hard time, but I can see God in that marriage. I can see God in that relationship. Amen. That's how you know when a relationship is meant to be. That's how you know if somebody is your wife, if somebody is your husband.
My goodness, what a mouthful. Now, let me tell you something real quick before I go to this next question. That list is crucial, all right? Yep. And see, it was different for me because God gave me the list for my husband.
Wow.
In prayer. Yeah. And it had probably 8 characteristics. And I'm going to be honest, it ain't had nothing to do with no money. It didn't have nothing to do with no education. It didn't have no. And when you were saying some things, I remember, I still have the list. And I'll tell you, after prayer, listen to these dates. July 17th, 2017. 2017.
Wow.
November 2nd, 2018, I was married to my husband.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, God.
Yes. And it was everything I needed on the list. Not what I wanted. Now,
right.
Because if I needed. If I wrote that list, it would have had all kind of stuff on there. Stuff that, yeah. And then I remember getting mad. And I'm going to say this too. I remember getting mad at God because I was like, this person don't even exist. So I had actually kind of like threw the book out.
Wow.
When I met
my husband and saw that he was real.
I had to find it again. I even showed him. I showed him the list because he's everything on that list. So yeah, the list is important. All right, going on. All right, we may not get through it all, but I'm gonna have to bring you back because this gonna be okay. As long as you good for it,
I'm gonna try to shorten them up, but we can definitely do a part two.
Don't leave them to stay in tune for the next one. Look.
Okay.
How should one prepare themselves to be married?
Y'all might as well go ahead and say ouch now because I'm getting ready to step on some toes. How do you prepare yourself for marriage? When you create a list, so to speak, or you have a certain image of the type of man that you would want, you need to match that list. You need to match that man that you're asking God for. We like to ask God for men with money when we don't have credit, when our bank account is in the negative. We like to ask God for men that are doing this and doing that, and not saying that everybody's finances are going to line up, but let me use myself as an example. When I asked God for a man that had money, I didn't have no money. I was going to say that. My credit was jacked up, okay? I have no savings account, and I didn't have no bank account, okay? When I asked God for a man with money, and God said, sweetheart, you asking me for a man with his finances together, and you don't even have a bank account. And I said, ouch. Okay, Holy Spirit, I hear you, God. That means I need to go work on my credit. That means I need to go pay off some of those debts that I have, because I don't want to enter into a marriage already with high financial hardship. Believe it or not, financial hardship is the number one cause of divorce. People think that it is infidelity, but it's not. Believe it or not, finances cause so many arguments in a marriage. When you start struggling with paying bills, all of a sudden, we're not in love anymore. We're not laying together anymore. We're not hugging. We're not affectionate. We don't even want to be bothered because we have all these bills. So to prepare yourself for marriage, you need to prepare for the kind of man that you want. If you know that you're broken, go get healed. Listen, we underestimate the power of healing too much. If you want to really feel and experience love, and you want a man to really see you as a beautiful vessel of God, go get healed. There's a different kind of beauty that rests upon us. There's a different kind of beauty that manifests when we go get healed. God said, you want somebody to love you unconditionally, sweetheart, but you mad. You need to go get healing so that you can attract the kind of love you're asking me for, that unconditional love. And I laugh all the time, but my husband makes a joke that if he had met me before I healed, then he would have been bothered with me, because the old me was mad. The old me was me and didn't play with you, okay? Right. I went from 0 to 100 really quick, okay? And God said, no, sweetheart, you need to heal, because you're not going to take that into a marriage. God also said, you need to mature. We get fixated on preparing for weddings. I'm not knocking big weddings because I have one, okay? I ain't knocking it. But we need to make sure that we are equally prepared for our marriage instead of our wedding date. What did you say, Coach Lee? I said we prepare for the wedding day, but we don't prepare for the marriage. If you want to be married, you prepare for the marriage. You start preparing yourself mentally to be somebody's wife. A lot of times we like the name wife, but we don't like the responsibility that comes with being a wife. Baby. You think it's easy for me to cook a meal every day? Honey, I don't even like cooking before I got married, okay? Y'all tell me, shame the devil. I ain't want to cook for no man. I used to tell people all the time, I'm nobody's slave. And God says, sweetheart, that's the family that I trusted you with. Your child should not know the dollar menu at McDonald's by heart. Go ahead and say, ouch. They should not be able to recite the dollar menu at McDonald's, at Burger King, at Taco Bell. They should be eating at home with mommy and daddy. We have gotten into a place right now in this modern day world where we don't honor marriage for what it really is. We talk about how the women back in the days kept their marriages. Why did they keep their marriages? They was wives. My grandmother celebrated 60 years of marriage today. God bless her soul. She went on to be with the Lord. But 60 years of marriage, and it wasn't easy, but she never stopped being my granddaddy's wife. Even till she took her last breath, she was giving instructions, and those instructions were, take care of your granddaddy. I'm going on, but I want to make sure my husband is taken care of. That is how the women kept their husbands back in the days. They took care of those men. They took care of their children. And what happens? Your spouse in return takes care of you. He in return protects you. We cover our spouses spiritually, ladies. So it's important for us to spiritually be at a level that we are whole enough that we understand that taking care of our family is not us in slavery. It's not us being treated like a doormat. It's an honor to take care of your family. It's an honor to care for your husband, to care for your children. And I think that preparing to take on that responsibility is something that many women decide they don't want to be bothered with. And believe it or not, we live in a time now where women haven't been taught to be wives. We live in a time now where women are not taught to be wives. Why? We don't have church mothers anymore. We don't have older people anymore taking these women underneath their wing. And even if they're there, for whatever reason, we feel that we don't want to sit under anybody's authority. We don't want to have somebody tell us what to do. We don't want somebody to point out our flaws, the same flaws that our husband is saying he doesn't like. We get mad when another person recognizes them. But let me tell you something. When I wanted to be married, I looked around and I recognized that my married girlfriends had something that I didn't have. I wasn't ashamed to admit that there was a glow, there was a grace that they carried that I didn't carry. But we don't like to admit when we don't have something. That's why we never obtain it. Listen, I was running behind every married woman with my notepad, sitting under those women saying, honey, tell me what I'm doing wrong. What can I do to better myself so that I am somebody's wife one day? And they were ripping me to pieces. They didn't play with me, but we get so thin-skinned now. When people correct us, we can't handle it. That woman looked at me and she said, honey, your dress is too short. You look more like a club girl than somebody's wife. She said, honey, you don't want to cook for nobody but men like a home-cooked meal. She said, sweetheart, you think that you can get a man with all this money in the bank, but you don't have a bank account. Listen, they didn't play with me. They ripped me to pieces. And you know what I said? Yes, ma'am. I'm going to work on it because I knew God had created me to be somebody's wife and I wasn't going to get there in my feelings. So how do we prepare? Go sit under a woman that can help you. Go sit under a woman that can love you enough and that isn't afraid of you, that isn't a yes man kind of person, so that it can correct you. You take that correction with a smile on your face. You say, ouch. I tell my girls all the time, before I'm getting ready to check my mentees, I say, sweetheart, go ahead and say, ouch. It's tight, but it's right, as it's necessary for your next level. Sometimes the correction is necessary for that next level God is trying to take you to. And I remember sitting with my grandmother, sitting with my mother, sitting with my aunties, and a lot of them were saying, Delerice, you talk too much. Delerice, you too mean. Delerice, and I was, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Listen, I was going to be somebody's wife. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What else? What else you got for me? What else I got? Because I was serious about change. If you're serious about change, connect yourself to somebody that is where you're trying to go. Nothing against your single girlfriend, but sweetheart, y'all can't be single together and expect to get a husband. Connect I said, single friends, I love y'all, but I got to go sit under the married women because they got something that I need and I can't get it from y'all. But we don't like to be real with ourselves. So we sit and we lack knowledge when there's so much knowledge out there, there's so much teaching out there. And we honestly can obtain it very easy if we're humble enough to say, I need help. Right. So how do we prepare? Go get help. Look in the mirror. Don't be afraid to look in the mirror and see where you really are. If you're not there, look at yourself and say, 3 months from now, I'm going to be where I need to be. My attitude is going to be in check. I'm going to be someone that a man can work with. I'm going to be able to listen instead of listen to respond. I'm going to listen to hear. These things are so important in marriage. Marriage is so much bigger than we think. So get a good mentor. Get a good mentor, ladies. Yes. Believe it or not, I meet women all the time that need so much help. And as soon as the process begins, you can see them glowing the way God always wanted us to glow. Let me tell y'all something. We was created to be wise. People don't like when I say that. You can get mad if you want to. In the scripture, God saw that Adam was lonely. He put Adam to sleep and he created us to be wise, not to be somebody's side piece, not to be somebody's boo thing, somebody's nighttime sugar mama. We was created to be wise. Prepare ourselves. Yes, there's more to life than being a wife, but we were created to be wise. Connect to some mentor, connect to some mother at your church, and let that woman help you prepare yourself for marriage, not your wedding date, but for your marriage, because you can look as beautiful as that at that altar as a prima donna, Princess Diana, Megan, or whoever, and you can be a woman that is still not wife material.
Exactly. And oh, that was so much right there. It's very imperative because just as a woman or a young lady growing into being a woman, transitioning, there's sometimes some childhood trauma.
Yep.
Mommy, daddy issues, all kind of things that go down.
Rape, all kind of things that affect us.
Yes, and we be right here trying to be married and stuff, knowing that we jacked up.
We're not ready.
No, and I've seen it all the time. And what I want to add to this is also be patient. You know, and I know you're hot and bothered. Listen, I keep it real. You know, I keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I know you're ready to go there because you're by yourself, and
right,
especially when the holidays come around, or when you're home at night and that spirit of loneliness comes.
Right,
it does come, and I get it. I've been there. I get it. But the important thing is to not be so anxious.
Right.
Be so ready to where you skip over what you're learning in this singlehood process.
Right.
And getting with coaches like yourself, or, you know, if you have a mentor in your life and things like that, don't skip over the learning, ladies and gentlemen. Don't skip over the growth process because you're going to need it.
Yes.
A marriage is a 24-hour, 8-day-a-week job. I said 8 days because we need an extra day in there, okay? Yeah. And that's coming from a Proverbs 31 woman, okay? But marriage is work, and it's an investment.
Yes, it is.
And what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So let me go some more. Okay. Now, let me see, I want to get to a good, this is a real good one. Okay. I kind of skipped some questions because I'm
going to shorten it up for Prophetess because I know we got to go soon.
Yeah, but I'm bringing
and we'll do our part 2.
It's going to be part 8. Okay, so here we go. You ready? Should a woman pursue a man? I'm going to drink the tea on that.
It's in the word, he that findeth a wife.
Please, okay, let's go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
It doesn't get any plainer and simpler than that. I'm not saying that you don't acknowledge that you like a man, that you're interested in a man, but we are not to pursue a man. It's in the word. He that findeth a wife, find a good thing. You're a good thing. Wait on that man God has to find you. You don't go knocking on somebody's door, jumping in somebody's inbox, telling them they're your husband. Come on, you know they're your husband, but you need to wait until God goes to them and let him tell you he's your husband. Okay? So to make it short and sweet, it's in the word. He that finds a wife. Ladies, don't be anxious. Let that man find you.
Oh, that's it? Oh, I was ready for more. Okay. Yes. Please let the man find you. It's important because when you go looking for something, sometimes you're going to get in trouble. Come on now. Yes. And how do you feel about women throwing themselves at a man? Let's talk about that for a moment.
Honestly, and that's all of you listening, this is for you too. When a woman throws herself at you, she's probably throwing herself at a couple of other men too. Okay? I'm just going to keep it real. We have to get out of the throwing ourselves at men mentality. It's thirsty. Go grab a drink of water. Don't jump in some man inbox. Grab a drink of water. You're thirsty, okay? But it comes out very thirsty. It isn't ladylike. If you look at the women in the Bible days, how did Ruth meet her husband?
Come on now.
Okay? He found her working.
Yes.
Get out and get busy, ladies. Get out and get in ministry. Get into your entrepreneurship cause. Go grab some women and take them underneath your wing and help them heal as you're healing as well. But you didn't go look for no man. My husband found me on a panel working, doing what God called me to do.
Come on
and
now.
The story goes on and on about women who are in the right place at the right time. Is there a way that you can position yourself to find your husband? Yes, it is. Get off the couch. Get busy for God. Get busy for yourself. And while you're working, your husband will connect to you. Sitting at home, you're not going to meet him. So yes, get out there. But we don't want to get out there with our fishing pole out like we're reeling in men just trying to catch fish. That's not how it's supposed to work, ladies. Get busy and let God allow him to find you. Let God direct his path in your direction. Believe me, it will happen. I met my husband when I least expected, and he's all the way from Pensacola, Florida, all the way on the other side of Florida, and God allowed our paths to cross while I was out. Busy for God. Get busy, and he will find you.
Ladies, I hope you heard that. Because it is orchestrated by God for the man to find us. Now, we have a lot of applicants in line for the job, but you do an interviewing process. Okay? Just because they apply for the job
don't mean they're gonna get it
for the job. All right. So I had fun tonight. It's a whole lot. Child, look at this. I still got cards.
I'm long-winded, Apostle. You should have said 2 minutes to each question.
No, I ain't gonna say that because I need you to tell them. I need you to tell them, child. Tell them because they don't want me to tell them because that's. Well, anyway, I am happy that you joined us. I'm thankful. And by the way, congratulations to that beautiful princess.
Thank you. Thank you for all your prayers. Apostle, you prophesied that little sweetheart to me years ago, even down to the light color eyes. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that.
Yes, I was dating my ex years ago, and you described this little mixed girl. You said she looked white. And I said, what Apostle talking about? The guy I'm dating is like midnight black. What is she talking about? And you said, I don't know, but I see a little mixed baby with light hair and pretty light eyes. I said, okay, Apostle, you see my baby, right? Years ago, let me tell you something about a prophecy. When you get a real prophet to prophesy to you, even if it doesn't happen right then and there, and when it doesn't happen right then and there, it's because you are not in position for it to happen. So let me go ahead and say that. It doesn't happen because you're not in position for it to happen. As soon as I positioned myself, I had that beautiful baby girl.
And with that, look, I just heard something. So if God telling you you got a husband and he's sending the prophets, get in position. Work so he can.
A lot of us are out of position for our breakthroughs. We're not in position for our blessings. We're not in position to receive our husbands or receive that financial breakthrough. A lot of times we're out of position, and that's why things don't happen for us. That was another thing I had to do in my season of preparing. I had to get in position by getting healed, becoming whole, fixing my credit, all those things that I knew I needed to do for me. Now, if y'all don't want to fix y'all credit, that's y'all business. But I needed my credit to match the credit I was looking for. I wanted to be financially free, and I said, God, he can't meet me tall. I might not have as much money as him, but baby, I'm gonna have something. So work on yourself. Position yourself for the kind of spouse that you want from God. If you didn't hear anything tonight, ladies, if you're single and you're wanting to get in position, how do I position myself? By working to fix those areas that are out of order so God can connect me to that man he has for me. If your husband is a pastor, but you still in the club, honey, how you gonna meet him? If you still slipping in and out of the streets, how are you going to meet him? Get in position. Get in position.
If you look, you are what you attract.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why they don't want to talk to me. Cause I'm telling you, you are what you attract. So if you jacked up, here come Bobo jacked up. Okay? All right. So with that, thank you. Listen, before we go, tell them how to reach you, how to find you. Your mentoring. I see you have a master class coming.
Yes.
That real quick, and then we're gonna go.
Okay, how you can find me? You can find me on Facebook at Delerice Tarani or at Coach D on Facebook as well. I have a masterclass, the Proverbs 31 Wife Masterclass, that is getting ready to begin August the 12th.
is when level 1 starts, and it is a class that helps women prepare themselves for marriage. It's the same journey that I put myself on many years ago when I was preparing to be a wife. Is it just for single women? No. Married women take the course as well, as it's a great way to refresh and strengthen your marriage. So if you're single, married, courting, dating, trying to figure it out, or in a place where you simply need direction and healing, Proverbs 31 Wife Masterclass is for you. And if you're looking for a great mentor and you're not afraid of being corrected and loved, I am the mentor for you. But honey, if you think that I'm going to sugarcoat you, if you're looking for somebody to just agree with everything you're saying, if you're looking for a friend, honey, it's not me, because I take my job serious, because it is a goal of mine to see women blossom into who God created them to be. So that means it's going to be tight. You're going to say ouch, but it's going to be right. Thank you so much, Apostle, for having me.
Oh my gosh, it was a blessing. All right, listen, we got to go. So tune in. The show will be right back up with all the stuff. Okay. And if you would like to be a guest on our show, please email us at it's all for you talk TV. Oh, I'm sorry. It's all for you 810@gmail.com. It's all for you 810@gmail.com. Okay. I know we enjoyed it. I'm excited. We're going to bring you back, Coach D. I don't know how many times, but we're going to make sure we get it out. And thank you for being with us. You all be blessed and have a great evening. Enjoy your